Sometimes I feel as though I've lost everything in this life that there is to lose, except for my integrity and my relationship to God. And I thank God for that, of course. And I thank God for what I do have, because of course I do have more than those things, but it's just sometimes it feels like that. It's sometimes it feels as though you're just kind of drifting along with a cold world. You're like this warm, radiant light that really just wants the best for everybody. And I'm really not a confrontational person. I don't like to be confrontational. I will when I have to be, but that's something that I really just don't care for. I would prefer to just walk on the narrow path and let other people debate on what the side paths are. Like I just don't care enough about these other paths. But I also, at the same time, I want to communicate with people. I want to communicate with people in my audience. I want to communicate with people online across different platforms and communicate with different ways and share ideas and such. However, everybody's just trying to be right so much that I can see that it's not that it's pointless, of course. It's just that it's just like the conversation is often fruitless. And the only thing that I feel like I can do is just plant seeds. Like I'm this overflowing vessel that wants to be able to give what I have to offer to anybody that actually has eyes to see and ears to hear. I would be willing to help anybody. And yet for some reason, people are just so much more concentrated on winning an argument or being right than actually seeking the truth. And I realize that walking in the truth and having truth as like a business model, it's not really scalable to the degree in which you might believe that it could be. Because a lot of people want to have their ears tickled, man. A lot of people want to have their ears tickled. A lot of people, they just want to be led to water and be given a cup to drink out of. And then they want you to scoop the water from the cup and then give them a sip. And it's just like, I know that in the Bible, Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. And he says to even be, he set the example so that we can do this as well, right? But I can't do this to everybody all the time, anytime, online or in person. I just don't have the bandwidth. Even though I'm an overflowing vessel, I still have a limit as a man, as a finite being. Even though I'm an interdimensional being, I'm still finite to some degree. My soul is eternal, of course, and I'm interested more so in the eternalities of life. But I just find that talking to some people, it's very it's not sorrowful, I would say. It's just kind of disappointing, because everybody wants to be right and everybody wants to label you something. That's another thing I've noticed, especially on X. Everybody wants to label you. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. Oh, you have this idea. Oh, so you must be this. I'm not a liberal. And I've got called a liberal more in the last week and a half than I've gotten called a liberal since I was actually a liberal in my early college years before I actually started to question things. And I'm not a conservative or anything. I don't have an affiliation. I just don't have, I'm not going to be putting myself into a box. I just refuse to put myself into a box because that's not who I am, and that's not really, if you want to put a label on me, I would prefer to just be a follower of Christ. That's all that I would prefer to be seen as, because I know that I'm not my label. It's not me. But so many people want to put you in these boxes. And when you don't fit that box, they berate you and they place ad hominems on you and they just try to smear your name, or they easily dismiss you and your ideas. They don't acknowledge what you're talking about because they want to be right. And you're just sitting there wondering, like, aren't you the same people that preach love? Like, it's the fake Christians, it's the letter people. I just can't relate to all these people anymore. It's so hard to relate to these people because they have such bitterness in their heart. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why a lot of people don't really know how to relate to my own content, because I have a very different perspective of life. Yes, life is suffering and life can be very sorrowful, no doubt. But that doesn't mean that you can't live happily. It doesn't mean that you can't choose to see the good and appreciate the creation as it is, but still worship and show appreciation more so to the Creator. And this is very dangerous to some people, supposedly. I got called a Protestant as well. I'm not a Protestant. I'm not any of these religious affiliations. I'm not any of these political affiliations. I'm not any of this. I don't know. When I say I'm just a follower of Christ, I'm just a guy. They're like, that's not good enough, apparently. Like, it's not good enough to just be a dude, like, that's trying to make a positive change and impact on the world and just speaking the truth, but also living the truth. Apparently that's like, I don't know, is that a hard concept? Like, I don't feel like I'm off my rocker at all, but sometimes I'm just like, makes you scratch your head and wonder just how many people are really on the path. Because especially for the last few weeks, I'm just thinking to myself, I know the path is narrow. Like, I was on a call with someone earlier tonight, and I said, like, the path is narrow, but sometimes it's like, holy shit, the path is narrow. Holy shit, the path is narrow. Like, it's just, you don't realize how narrow the path is until you just start to you're not losing touch with the world, but you're losing your association with the worldliness of the world. And you start to see just how many people are worldly. And I know that it's going to be like this forever, for the rest of my life anyway, as long as I'm on this earth. And the only thing that I can do is plant seeds in these people. And God is really teaching me patience right now, because a lot of the times when I'm talking to people, I just want to like slap them. I want to just like, you're thinking too much. You're trying to be right too much. Like, stop it. Stop trying to be right all the time. Stop trying to do the right thing. Like, you're trying to do now, there's nothing wrong with doing the right thing. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. Because I know people will twist my words. And sometimes I swear, even my most like devout listeners, sometimes, like, I'll see comments from people that I've seen from before. And it's like, what's happening here? Am I not communicating this as clearly as I could be? Because I really think that I'm not too complex. I perhaps use some sophisticated language sometimes, but that's only because I appreciate the artistry of articulating through communication. I appreciate that. And so I like to use, not big words, but like, I like to use words that are just more, I guess, industrious. Even that word maybe is, something that is strange, but I don't want to speak to you guys like I'm speaking to a third grader all the time. And sometimes I feel like I need to, simplify it. And I can simplify it, of course. But then people have all these questions when I simplify it. And I suppose I want to just continue doing what I'm doing as far as articulating myself. But I don't know if that's good enough for some people anymore. I don't know. And I don't really want to work with people that are just in the beginning stages anymore. I don't really want to do that. I'm kind of done with that phase and that era. I don't even think about it as a phase. I'm just thinking about it as like, I've moved beyond this vibrational state, you could say. And now it's not like I wish these people ill. It's just like I'm tired of some of these people thinking that they know more than they really do. And I just don't even want to associate with them. I just don't care. I don't care to associate with these people. And I would rather speak to people that are actually on a similar frequency or wavelength as I am. And that involves nuanced thinking. That involves the ability to entertain ideas without accepting them. That involves the proclivity toward an open mind and an open heart, but not so open that your mind falls out and turns into goo. Okay? It's not that. It's not the goal here. The goal isn't to lose your mind, it's to free your mind. And a lot of people confuse freeing their minds with believing anything or not believing anything. And I don't think that's correct, because you have to be able to trust your experiences at all times. Trust what if you have nothing else to stand on, trust your experience. If you have no one to trust your experience. And trust your connection to God. Trust God himself. And I know that that's hard. I know that it's difficult, man. And I know that this kind of stuff is going to go, it's going to go through some people's heads, and they're going to interpret it one way, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's amazing how I can say one thing, and then I can have 4 or 5 different perspectives of that one thing that I said. And I can have like 2 people seeing it from a perspective of like joy and appreciation and gratitude. And then I'm going to have like 2 to 3 people seeing it from this, like I'm attacking them. And it's just, this is how it is always going to be, following Christ. This is how it's always going to be. People are either going to love you or they're going to hate you. And it's just so amazing to me, the profundity of living the truth and actually trusting my own experiences and trusting my gut. Because every single time I've not trusted my gut, every single time, it's been something that is terrible that happens next. Whether it's in my own cognitive faculties that I'm unable to comprehend or articulate to myself or express to myself, or whether it's finances or whether it's relationships, whatever the case is, every single time I don't trust my intuition or my instincts, something bad happens. And so the last time I went against my instincts was June of this year. And I decided to give someone the benefit of the doubt a little bit too much. And it was just because it was enough to where it was like, I could see how it would be this way, but I could also see how it would be this way. It would be way too complex if I saw it from this way. So I'm going to have to see it from this way because I have to just trust the surface level. Turns out that surface level was actually wrong. What I trusted as, the surface level was completely false. And it was actually way more complex than I thought it was with this person. And I went against my intuition for just a second because I was like, I want to give this person the benefit of it. Like, I wanted to give the person the benefit of it, the benefit of the doubt, more so than I wanted to listen to my intuition, because there was not enough evidence really to like think that way about my to trust my intuition in that way. Like, everything on the surface didn't look like it was going to go a bad direction, let's say, or let's say a challenging direction for the sake of semantics. It wasn't going to go like a challenging direction. It was just going to go a direction that may or may not be conducive to a long-term, a sustainable impact, right? But it actually was more complex, and it was really negative in the long run. And that was the last time that I told myself, I'm like, okay, from now on, even if something looks right, but in my soul and my instincts and my intuition, it feels not right, I'm going to trust my intuition. I have to trust it. Like, I have to trust it until, the facts bear out the truth of the situation. And because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I want to give people compassion. I want to give people the ability to make a mistake without feeling like the world is ending. Okay, because it's just not a healthy mindset to walk through life feeling like you can't make a mistake. Okay, it's good to be able to deal with the consequences of your actions. And it's good to take risks, calculated risks, but risk nonetheless. It's kind of late filming this video, and the Day of Atonement is tomorrow, so I'm preparing for that. Anybody that wants to join in the fast for the Day of Atonement, that'll be tomorrow, and it'll go into the 2nd of October, so that's tomorrow. And that's really a time to, acknowledge the affliction, acknowledge our past, and acknowledge the root of our own creation, and why we need the Lord's favor. We need Jesus Christ. And it's not the churches that we need. It's not these idols that we need. It's the relationship. It's the personal relationship to Christ that we need. That's what we need. The church is the people, as the Corinthians says, okay? Yes, there are physical churches, and there are good physical churches out there. But for the most part, from what I see, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And I've even considered becoming a bishop or something like that, because somebody's got to clean these churches out, man. Like, they really do need to get these churches cleaned out, because it's just yikes. I mean, I remember we were talking about this a while back in the Regal Change Academy. I remember going to this non-denominational church one time, and they literally had women in belly shirts dancing to gospel music. And I just thought to myself, this is a church? I thought churches were like, I don't know, conservative, I suppose you could say, like, at least as far as like a quality and not like a thing, right? They're more conservative as far as a quality, not a thing. And boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. And then you go to other churches and they take it like hyper seriously, to the point in which it's not even fun. And I'm not saying like, following Jesus Christ is fun. It's just like, they're so rigid. They're stiff-necked. They're so... I don't know how else to describe it. That's my description of these people, because there's no words to describe the rigidity of this. They're just... And then you got those other people that are just like so beyond what I don't even know what these people are even preaching anymore. Like there's so many churches that are preaching the LGBT, the letter people. They're worshiping dead idols. They're worshiping things. They're not worshiping Jesus Christ. And I don't really think that these people believe. And it's not like I don't even believe this. I know Jesus Christ is God. I don't need to like believe this, and I don't need to like, why believe when you can just know, right? Why believe when you can just know? And you know what's crazy is when I stay grounded in that knowing, everything just makes sense. I don't need to doubt it. I don't need to believe it. I just know that that's my creator. And my relationship with him is mine and his. Like, I exist in the relationship with him. It's not about me. It's about him and how I can be in the relationship with him. And I guess I see that a lot of people just don't think this way. And it kind of makes me sad that these people are, when I try to show them through scripture or just through an honest conversation where I ask questions and try to get them to self-reflect, like they're just incapable of it. They're simply incapable. Like on X, man, that is one weird place. That is one freaking weird place. X is a weird place. You see all different kinds of people that think they know things. And everybody, I swear these people just use AI to like reply to certain people. They're just like, this is what it feels like, because it when I read it, I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to ChatGPT or something. I feel like this is are they even real, or are they just typing something out because they want to like be right? I swear they're like prompting ChatGPT, how do I send like the wittiest insult to this person? Because the way that they write it makes it seem like ChatGPT or Claude wrote it or something. And so like I'm talking to these people and I'm like, you guys are sheeple, man. Y'all are sheeple. This is bizarre. And I'm just so grateful for the real people. You know, I'm grateful for real people. I'm grateful for actual godly communities, like the Regal Change Academy, for example. It's crazy how you don't realize the profundity of the impact that the people around you can have until you start to witness that impact in real time. And a lot of people are not going to see that impact in real time because, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, sometimes it feels like you lose everything except your integrity and your relationship to God. And you might have to lose a lot before you really start to see the gains, right? But the thing is I'm not selling you richness in the sense of the material. For someone like Blandrew Fate, y'all know who I'm talking about, he's clearly saying, look at me. Do you want to be like me and be rich and have all these cars and these mansions and then whatever, all the women and all that? And when I say like, well, do you want to be free like me? You can't tangibly see it just yet. Like, you don't know. Like, well, is this guy really, is he really free, or, I don't know. You don't really see it until you experience it. And that's why I make so many videos, is because number one, I have a lot of things to say about stuff like this. And number two, it's that I don't just say things to just say things. I say things because These are legitimate thoughts that I know other people are going to resonate with, that are actually having eyes to see and ears to hear. And I'm realizing more and more each day just how freaking narrow that path is, man. I'm realizing just how narrow being obedient to God is no freaking joke. It's no freaking joke at all. Because you can have these angel eyes, right? You can have like a smooth tongue. But you can't fool God with that. You can't fool God. You cannot. It's just impossible. And anybody that thinks that they can fool God, you're kidding yourself. It's reminding me, we're having the Bible study in the Regal Academy, and we're reading Habakkuk, the book of Habakkuk, in one of the Bible study calls. And at one point he says, like, Habakkuk is having a conversation with God, and he basically says at one point, he says, God, in your wrath, remember your mercy. And he's begging God, from the sounds of it, he's begging God to just remember mercy. Because the people have just been so corrupted, and they're just so terrible, and they're so out there that there's no reason why God wouldn't bring his wrath upon them. And there's Habakkuk. And he's saying, please, God, remember mercy. And so, really, that's the main message of this video that I want to relay to you guys is, I hope God remembers mercy, because we've all done some terrible things to insult God and insult the people in Christ, too. And I'm not really proud of the things that I've, done in the past, and I've said to people, and because I was an atheist at one point, and I'm not really proud or gleeful in those moments where I was very foolish. I was just very angry, and I was very resentful of the cards that I've been given in my life. I never understood why it was fair for me to have the cards I was dealt. Sometimes to this day, I still don't feel like I understand why the cards I was dealt. But I know that it's not about why, it's not about why you have the cards that you're dealt. It's about what can you do with those cards that you're dealt. And what can you do with those cards? So I hope everybody has a blessed rest of your evening or morning, whenever you're watching this. I'm filming this late on the night before the Day of Atonement, so I'm going to be hitting the hay right after this because I'm exhausted. It was a long day. It was a good day, but it was a long day. Long day indeed. And I'm looking forward to the rest and recovery so that I can stay gracious, virile, and just connected to God. So peace be with you all. Until next time.